Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Intuition Activation Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica, a spiritual medium and intuitive coach, and I'm so excited that you're here to join me for this intuitive development journey. Hello, beautiful friends. Oh my goodness, it has been a little bit of time since I've done a solo episode, and I'm so excited to get back to doing another solo episode with you guys, just me and the mic, kind of harping on all of my thoughts and sharing some things with you. And for today's episode, I really have come in with not much of a plan because I have a few ideas percolating in my mind that I really just want to flesh out here with you guys. I really just want to share with you a little bit of a life update, a couple of things that have been going on where I have really been seeing how spirit guides and God, if you will, are working through and in my life in ways that I didn't realize until more recently. And so I want to bring some of these stories forward because I'm hoping that maybe you're going to see that spirit guides are working for you in your life in a similar way. And maybe we just don't realize. So I'm excited to bring some of those things through. And also just some ideas and some things that my guides have been channeling through me and that I haven't necessarily been listening to, and how they really have taught me that lesson, especially in the last couple of days. So I'm excited to bring some of those stories through to you. And then I also wanted to bring in the topic of automatic writing to you guys today, because this is something that I find myself mentioning to people all of the time. Have you tried automatic writing? Have you tried automatic writing? And it's such a beautiful tool and such a beautiful exercise that I really think anybody who's on their intuitive development journey should try and use in their arsenal or have as a tool in their tool belt. But it's not that long of a process to explain, so I didn't think it merited a full episode all on its own because it wouldn't take very long. So I'm going to add it to the end here of this episode after I share some of my personal stories. And then because this is a solo episode, we are going to have an intuitive development exercise, but this one's actually going to be directly connected to automatic writing. My goodness, guys, I'm losing my words today. It's going to be an automatic writing exercise. So it'll be a little bit different, not necessarily something that you can receive instant confirmation on, but still very, very powerful exercise. So be sure to stick around to the end. We're going to do a guided meditation together that will bring you to a place where you could do an automatic writing exercise and receive some real downloads and answers from your spirit guides. So I'm really excited to dive in today's episode, but please bear with me because I normally have notes with me, but today I really just wanted to bring a whole bunch of different thoughts through, and I didn't really come in with a huge plan. So if I feel a little bit all over the place, I apologize. But the first thing I want to bring up today is just this idea that has been coming through with my guides. Now, lately, I have been intentional or really intentional about actually doing a lot more automatic writing with my spirit guides and taking some time similar to a regular journaling practice. But I actually feel like this is it's almost like a more elevated journaling practice because I'm not just necessarily writing out my own thoughts and fleshing out my own thoughts and feelings and emotions, but instead writing a letter directly to my spirit guides and letting them answer me back, which is essentially what automatic writing is. It's channeled writing. It's allowing spirit guide to channel through you as you write. And the messages that come through are not from you, but from a subconscious place, if you will, or from a place where you take a step back and the guides channel through you and somebody else is taking over, right? And by somebody else, I mean spirit is taking over and responding to you and giving you messages that way. And I really do find that this is such a powerful practice to have because not all of us really necessarily have the time to sit down and get into a deep meditation and really, really sit and connect with our guides in a very profound way. But many of us can find 5 to 10 minutes in our day to journal or write a little note. And for me, this is something that I've been trying to do. I wish I could say I was a morning person, guys. I strive. I'm going to put this out here on the podcast because this is something I strive to be. I strive to be the kind of mother who wakes up before her children and gets a full hour or two to herself where she journals and has her meditation practice and works out and makes breakfast and is ready for the day and dressed and ready to go all before her children wake up. But I'm just not that person right now. And part of me wonders if that's mostly because I'm co-sleeping with both my kids. If I get up within 5 minutes, they're both going to notice I'm not there, and then they're just going to wake up earlier. And I'm also in a moment in my life or a season in my life where I'm just trying to get the most amount of sleep possible. But I do tend to try and kind of get a little bit of at least an hour to myself after the children do go to sleep. And so, that hour from like 9 to 10 o'clock, I will usually take a minute to do something for myself. And lately, I've been very intentional about making that an automatic writing practice and a time to really connect with my guides, let them channel through me and share with me any messages that I need to hear. And sometimes I will ask them very specific questions. I will ask, like, what do I do about this situation? What do I need to know about my business? What do I need to know about my relationship with my husband? Or is there anything I can do better in my parenting journey? Right. Sometimes I'll ask very specific questions like that. Or how do I support my son in this? Or, do I send him to this swim school or that one? Right. Like whatever it is, I sometimes will ask very pointed questions. But sometimes I find the most magical moments are when I just ask, what do you need me to know right now? What is it that you need me to know? And a very specific theme has been coming up for me from my spirit guides lately. And it's a message that I thought I understood. And until about yesterday, I realized that I didn't really understand it. And this message that my guides really have been bringing through for me is, Jessica, the grass is not always greener on the other side. And this is so funny because I think often this is a trap that many of us get caught in, and for me, especially in being an entrepreneur and someone who really is always about optimizing what it means to have the most dreamy, optimal, ideal life, and what does happiness feel like for you? Sometimes we can get stuck in this feeling of what's next and what's next and what's next. And we keep moving the goalpost so much and so quickly that we forget to take a moment to really appreciate the place that we're in right now. Or we fail to recognize that the thing that we're really, really thinking we're wanting and craving, we already have and we don't realize it. And that's really where I've been right now. And so many of you have heard on this podcast, I've had these big, beautiful dreams of possibly picking up my family and moving to the jungle of Costa Rica and homeschooling my kids in the forest and retiring my husband and us just living by the beach or in the jungle and, living in this one of those beautiful eco communities in Costa Rica. And this has definitely been a dream of mine for a little bit of time. I wouldn't say necessarily the Costa Rica part, but definitely the homeschooling my kids and retiring my husband and living in a place in nature, and more importantly, living in a like minded community. And this has been something that kind of has always been at the back of my mind and something that I've been dreaming for and striving for. And that has driven my business, right? If my husband is a chiropractor. And so, how could we pick up and move our life if, half of our income relies on his business being here? So I need to retire him, right? I need to build my business. But the thing is that it's beautiful for us to have these big goals and these big dreams. But sometimes that can rob us of the enjoyment of the journey along the way or the present moment. And recognizing that we have elements of those things here and now, and that maybe it's not all about being satisfied, or that I'm going to delay gratification or satisfaction with my current life until I get to that goalpost. And then what happens when we get to that goalpost? We move it again and it's on to the next thing. And this is really something that my guides have been screaming at me. Not going to lie. They've been screaming this at me for the last few months. Jessica, stop looking, right? Stop looking into the future. Stop future tripping. Really recognize where you are and really appreciate the present moment. And I had all of these buts, right? I literally, guys, I fight with my spirit guides through journaling, right? In my book. And I always add, but what about this? And but what about this? And for me, one of the ones that I was really fighting my guides on was, but what about that feeling of community? I don't feel like I have that community of like-minded people. I don't feel like I have that community. And this has really been a struggle for me. And guys, I'm definitely going to have a vulnerability hangover after this podcast episode for sharing so much of what kind of on the deep inner workings of my brain. And so forgive me. But I'm definitely sitting here going, do I post this episode or do I not? But this has definitely been a wound of mine for a very long time, of not feeling like do I fit in, right? And do I have my people, and who are my people, and what is my community? And thinking that maybe if I just move here, maybe if I go there, I will find my people, right? Maybe if I try this, or if I morph myself into this or into that, I will have my community and I will find my community. And my spirit guides keep yelling at me, Jessica, you always have a community, right? And you already have one. And I kept saying, like, no, I don't. What are you talking about, spirit guide? And so, unfortunately, my spirit guides had to do something very radical to help me really, really see this. And that's what will bring me to what went down yesterday. And this was actually a very scary experience for me yesterday, but in taking some time to process what happened, I really realized that my guides were very, very strongly trying to show me a much bigger message here. And there were definitely a few lessons in what happened yesterday, but some of them are a little more personal, so I'm not gonna share all of the lessons I learned from yesterday's experience, but this message about community, boy, did it come through yesterday. And my guides were really working with me. And so yesterday, a very scary thing happened, which was that and I'm gonna back up a little bit. So I was very much in my head these last few days, very much kind of getting down on myself and delaying happiness, delaying gratification, and really making myself miserable of my own volition, and dreaming of my life is only going to be better if and when I get to be in a different place, right? Not here, not now. I can't be happy here and now. And I was pushing myself into really being absorbed in my work, really being far from the present moment, really to the point where I was on my phone so much, in my email so much, working on my projects so much that yes, I was watching my kids, but I wasn't super paying attention to them or being as present with them as I normally like to be. I don't normally have my phone with me, or at least I keep it on airplane mode usually when I'm with my boys so I can pay attention to them. But I was so in my head about how I just need to get to the next level and need to push myself and I need to go and I need to strive and I need to try more, do more, be more. And I was literally making myself miserable and missing out on what was right in front of me. And this is really what had been going on for the last few days of just really getting in my head and getting down on myself and not allowing myself to be happy in the present moment is what was going on. And so yesterday was one of those days where I was choosing, and I say this very full well, taking radical responsibility for myself, very much choosing not to be happy and satisfied with my current life. And getting very much into my head about how I wanted to change so many things in my life. And this showed up in a couple of ways. And so one of the ways was that I was getting frustrated with how messy my house is and how messy our front yard was and how messy our backyard was. Guys, we live in a state of constant chaos here. Part of it is probably my ADHD. Part of it is probably that both my husband and I are not good at keeping our house clean. Another part of it is that we have two little boys and it's hard to just keep up. It feels like you clean up one mess and the next one, is popping up in another place because the kids are always doing something. And so I was getting down on myself about that. And so that was kind of coming through. I was on my phone a lot when I was with the kids and I wasn't paying attention to them, pushing myself really hard in my business and being really hard on myself about it. And just really overall in a grouchy mood, if you will. And sorry, and this was 2 days ago. This was not yesterday. 2 days ago, I was like that. And I kind of made a realization about it later that evening as I had been as I grouchily put the kids to sleep and just saying like, "Oh, if only I had more community, I wouldn't be putting the kids to bed by myself." Like, guys, I was so down on myself the other day and just in a really bad headspace. And I often notice that is on a day that I don't work out. If I don't work out, I do tend to get into a little bit more of the negative self-talk. And so I went to get into bed that night and I was like, "Man, I gotta do something to get myself out of this headspace." And so I journaled with my guide. I connected with them and they were like, "Jessica, wow, like what was that day? You were stewing in it. You were stewing in it." And my guides were like, "Jessica, tomorrow's a new day. You're gonna wipe the slate clean. Let's do things a little bit differently tomorrow. Tomorrow you're gonna get up and you're gonna work out. You're gonna feel a little better. And you're gonna do something about the messy house because that's bothering you, obviously. And instead of complaining about it, do something about it. And, like, we're just gonna have a better day with the kids. My husband was gonna go golfing for the morning. He does that most Sundays. He goes golfing with his buddies. You're gonna have a great day with the kids in the morning. You're gonna work out. You're gonna let the kids play in the backyard while you work out, and you're gonna take them to a park or something, and you're just gonna, like, take it easy and stop. Just get back into the present moment a little bit, right? Get out of your head, get back into the present moment, and do something about the things you're complaining about, essentially is what my guides had told me. I kinda did just that. I woke up the next morning and I didn't work out right away because I usually like to wait until the baby is napping. It's very hard for me to work out when both of them are running around and the baby always wants to climb all over me. So we just had like a beautiful, kind of lovely morning. I took the boys to the park and it was very slow. I left my phone, not with me. I left my phone at home and I walked the kids to the park and just had like a generally very nice quiet, slow morning with them. And then my husband came home from golfing and I had put the baby down for his afternoon nap. And I decided, you know what? This is the moment that I'm going to try and do a workout. And my husband had gone upstairs to shower. Baby was napping. And I don't know why. I think because I use my phone there's an app on my phone that I use to work out with and this app. And so I started kind of scrolling a little bit on Instagram and started posting some things and getting right back into that old mentality, that mindset that I'd been in the day before of like choosing to be grouchy and miserable. And now it was kind of like later in the afternoon, maybe 2 or 3 o'clock, thinking like, oh, like it's so frustrating to try and work out. My son kept bothering me while I was trying to work out. And like, my husband got a whole morning to himself and I'm trying to work out and I can't even do that without my kids bothering me and just really in a negative headspace. And so I'm trying to work out and my son is playing in the backyard, my older son. And he's like, "Mommy, look at me. Like I'm trying, look at what I'm doing." And I was just like, "Can you just give me 2 seconds to finish this exercise, please?" And I had my back turned to him. What I didn't realize is the thing that he was playing with was, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if there's a word for what this thing was. It's like, those things that they're like cords or elastic bands that have kind of hooks on the end, and you kind of use them to strap things to the top of your car or to strap a tent together. Like I don't even know what they're called. They're kind of just like these stretchy, very long, stretchy cords that have metal hooks at the end. And I don't know why one of those was lying around in our backyard. I don't know what was like where that came from. I mean, my husband's been doing a little bit of work back there, building us a patio, so maybe he had used it to carry some of the supplies back there and had left it there by mistake. But my son was playing with it and I didn't notice because I had gotten, even though I'd had a really beautiful morning of trying to be present, I kind of jumped right back into a woe is me attitude for that last 20 minutes or so. And I was like, oh, I just need a minute to myself, right? I'm just like, go play over there. And he's like, Mommy, look at this. And the next thing I know, the elastic cord had released from the thing he had plugged connected to the fence, and it ricocheted back and hit him right in the forehead. Guys, he had such a deep gash in his forehead. It was like you could see the skull. It was really bad and really scary. I grabbed him and called up to my husband, and he took a look at it, and he was like, "Oh boy, we need to go to the hospital." And, he definitely needed stitches. And although, yes, I mean, I could go in circles about being really down on myself for not paying attention in that moment, not noticing what he was playing with, being too much in my head about how miserable I was feeling in that moment and getting down on myself for the situation I was in. But do you know what really came over me was, wow, I am so lucky. And I know this is so crazy. My son just got really, really hurt. Why am I so lucky? And here's why, is because in the journaling I had done the night before, my guides had said, do something that is going to make you feel better about your life in the morning. And I had put my phone away that morning. And the first thing I really wanted to do, which I had done that morning, is before we went to the park, I was really frustrated with all of the toys and all of the stuff that we had left out on the front lawn. And I felt super compelled to just tidy up the front lawn. That's going to make me feel better. And I had put all the toys away and I put some things back in the garage. And while I had been doing that, and like the boys were just playing with some toys out there while I was doing it, feeling really good about myself, like I'm going to get back on track. I'm going to be in a good mindset. And I remember my guide whispering to me in the back of my head in that moment. I was about to put the stroller into the garage. My guide said, put it in the trunk of the car. And I remember thinking like, "But I'm not going anywhere today. Like, why do I need to put it in the trunk of the car?" Again, I always wrestle with my guides. They tell me to do something and I'm like, "Why?" And I didn't understand it, but I did it anyway. So I had put the stroller in the back of the car. And in the rush of us grabbing the kids, waking up the baby, dressing them both, throwing some stuff in a diaper bag, and rushing off to the ER, I had forgotten about a stroller. Thank God I had put an extra stroller. We have two. I had thrown the extra stroller into the trunk. Thank goodness my guides had compelled me to do that morning. And if this had to happen, if there was ever a time that my son had to go to the ER, wow, am I so lucky that it happened on a day that my husband is home, that I don't have to do this by myself, that he's going to help me corral both of these kids and go and sit in the ER with them. My husband is much better with the sight of blood than me. I'm very, very queasy. And he's much better at, although typically in most situations, I'm the calmer one. Yeah, in many situations, I can be the calmer one. When it comes to physical ailments of the kid getting sick in any way, I'm usually the one who freaks out. And my husband tends to be the voice of reason. So thank goodness that Ellie, my husband, was there to keep me calm in order to keep the boys calm for us to go to the hospital. And unfortunately, the hospital was overrun. It was Sunday afternoon and we live at like in cottage country. So it was like the busiest time you could possibly be at the ER. It took us 6 hours waiting just to get a couple of stitches in my son's forehead. And thank goodness, guys, he's totally fine. He's okay. Everything's really beautiful. But here's a couple of things that my guides really helped me see and helped me realize, which was I have been complaining to my guides forever that I just don't feel like I have a community. While we were stuck at the ER, we realized that there was going to be nobody to let our dog out and let him go to the washroom, and he'd been home all day long, and we were able to call our next door neighbor and ask them to go and check in on our dog. They were so happy to do so. They went in and they checked on the dog. They even walked him around the block for a minute. And they did that. And then while we were still waiting at the ER, there was a moment where my younger son, Benny the baby, started losing it. It was way past his bedtime. It was already 9 p.m. and they had told us that it was going to be even another 2 hours before they were going to finish stitching up Noah. And my husband was like, just take the baby home. Like, he's screaming, he's crying, he's losing it. I'll stay here with Noah. Just go. So I took the baby home. And again, I'm like so in my head, like, oh, this would be so much easier if we had parents close by, if we had a community, if we had people who could help us. Like, I could have called someone to come and pick up the baby and take him home. And like, oh, no community. What is this? And I go home and I bathe the baby and I put him to sleep. And just as he had gotten to sleep, right, he had finally fallen asleep. He was asleep in his bed. That's when my husband called me and said, "We're done. We're waiting outside the hospital. Can you come and get us?" And I'm thinking, I just put like this really like hard to console baby down to sleep. There's no way I'm waking him up and putting it back in the car right now. And so I realized that we have this beautiful neighbor who's just a few doors down and across the street. Lovely old woman who is just so sweet with the kids. And I texted her, guys, it was 10 p.m. Okay. It's late at night, and she had always told us, if you ever need anything, right? I know your parents don't live nearby. Like, if you ever need anything, you need help with the kids, you need whatever, like, you just call me. And so I had that thought, and I really truly believe that that was my guides again, putting that little ping in my head, that little download. Call her, call her. So I texted her and I said, "I'm so sorry it's late. I really need some help. Are you awake?" She said, "Yes, I'm awake. What can I do?" Just put the baby down to sleep. I have to go pick up Noah and my husband from the hospital. She goes, "I'll be there in a minute." And she came. She got up, she got dressed, she came across the street and she sat with the baby and the dog while I went to go and pick up my husband and Noah from the hospital. We brought them home and she gave Noah a really big hug. She made him feel better. And he was so happy to see her. We see her every day when we go for a walk, so he knows her pretty well. And so there was that. And while I was at home while I was putting Betty to sleep and I was nursing him to sleep, I was so anxious that he wasn't going to have me to comfort him while the doctor was stitching him up. Because while my husband is really excellent and he is really amazing, often I tend to be the nurturing comfort for my kids when they're really hurt. I mean, right? Dads are for playing, moms are for comfort typically. And of course, my husband is great. And the kids do, of course, feel very loved and comforted. But, there's something to be said for a very little young kid to want their mom in a time of getting stitches. I was so anxious about being so far away from him while that was happening. And I messaged a couple of my friends who are energy healers, and I had said, "Can you please send healing energy to Noah? He's getting stitches at this very moment. Can you please send healing energy to him?" And they were like, "We got you." And I had these 2 friends, and they were sending out energy healing and sending me messages. I'm sending beautiful golden light to him. Do the same with us. And they sent this beautiful energy to him. And when they got home from the hospital, or when I brought them home, I asked my husband, like, how was he? Was he freaking out and crying while they were stitching up? And my husband said, considering our son typically would have freaked out over something like this, he said he was so surprisingly calm and serene. And even the doctor complimented him and said he'd never had a kid patient that young who didn't move, didn't flinch, was so calm and so chill while they were getting stitches. And he was so grateful. And the doctor had even said he wished all of his kid patients were like that who needed stitches. And so I really, really felt the support and love of these friends. And guys, all of this to say that here I am a couple of days before getting so down on my spirit guides or down on myself and telling my spirit guides, I need a community. I need a community. I don't have my people. I don't have my people. And it took something as catastrophic as my son getting so hurt that he needed to go to the hospital for me to finally wake up and realize, oh my goodness, I have a community of people. I have a band of people around me who will jump to help me in the moment of crisis. And my guides really made it something very radical to help me see that. But boy, did they help me see that. And I just have nothing but gratitude for this situation that happened. And of course, I'm sad that it had to happen to my son. But sometimes this is what happens. And I've definitely channeled for other clients of mine where sometimes the wake up call needs to happen to your child rather than yourself because you see it that much more clearly. I mean, as mothers, we're so intricately and energetically and spiritually connected to our children. Sometimes, and we will do anything for their well being, that we will get over our own stuff in order to serve them and to help them and nurture them. And had it just been me who was at the hospital who had gotten hurt, would I have called somebody to help me? I don't know that I would have. Right? But because I had these 2 babies that I needed support and helping, boy, did I have to call in my resources and have no shame and get over myself. And this is what my guides are really showing me in this moment. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to realize, oh my goodness, not only do I have a community, I have a community of people who have got my back, but I do also have these beautiful, like-minded people who, okay, maybe they're not in person. In fact, some of them are in a different country, but they're there for me when I need them. And they sent healing energy to my son, and the energy of that sent ripples through across thousands of miles so that my son was calm and magically so while he was getting stitches. It sometimes takes a big kind of wake up call for you to see that the things that you've been asking for, you already have. And this is something my guides have been really, really trying to get me to see. And I think there was one other lesson that I really picked up from this, which is one, I really got to stop wrestling with my guides when they tell me to do something that feels so strange, like put the stroller in the car. I'm so thankful I had that stroller because I didn't want my 1-year-old crawling around the hospital floors. And I also wouldn't have wanted to carry him for that whole 6 hours. So thank God I had that stroller in the car. And I'm very thankful that they did that for me. And I'm and I'm so thankful that they, gave me this perspective. And then the other thing is this message of Jessica, the grass isn't always greener, and to be in the present moment. Conceptually, I got it, right? Conceptually, I understood. Yes, be present, put your phone away. But I didn't understand. What I didn't understand was that happiness is a choice, and I was choosing to be miserable. I was making that choice to think that the future was going to be my key and my ticket to happiness, and that if only I achieved this next goal, if I did this next level in my business, if I moved to that place where this supposed community is that I think is going to make me happy, that's what's going to make me happy. And what I've really needed to realize, and it's become abundantly clear since this incident yesterday, is that Happiness is a choice and you get to have it in every single moment. And guys, I've read many books about this. Many manifestation books talk about this, but I always felt like it was such a manufactured thing, right? You can't just make yourself be happy, but the truth is you can. You can choose happiness in every single moment, and you can choose not to stew in your own misery, essentially, and these stories that you craft for yourself. And the more that I was journaling about this, and I definitely sat down to process everything and journal and connect with my guides last night after the kids went to sleep. And Noah's perfectly fine, by the way. He's safe, he's sound. He keeps calling himself a superhero because he feels like he did something pretty amazing, and we've been telling him how brave he was, and he's doing fantastic. But of course, feels almost a little bit more traumatic for the parents involved than maybe the kids who are so resilient. And so I definitely did some journaling about it last night, and it's always been about the next goalpost for me. And I've been getting myself tripped up about this for a really long time. And if I were to look back at the version of myself 5 years ago, a miserable school teacher who just wanted something different for her life, I dreamed so hard about a life I worked where I made enough money, but I also worked so minimally that I could be home with my kids, that we had my own little cozy home with my husband and I and my future children, and I got to homeschool them and work from home and live in a place that's full of nature. And guys, I'm doing just that. 25-year-old me would be looking up at 32-year-old me going, "You did it. Girlfriend, you did it." Sorry, 7 years ago. Like, "You did it." And you're not happy? You're moving on to the next thing? You're already striving for something else? Like, this is all we dreamed of. And here you are, miserable about it, wishing for the next thing. And it hit me so hard, you guys. It hit me so hard to the point where it brought me to tears yesterday, going, how could I have been so ungrateful for this life that I built for myself? This life is everything I've always wanted, and I haven't taken a minute to stop and appreciate it. And it's always on to the next goal and on to the next thing. And I think I really got that message of slow down, Jessica. Slow down. Grass is not greener. Happiness is not something you chase, it's something you choose. And that has really been the overarching message that I really needed to see. And I'm sad that it took my son getting hurt for me to see that. But boy, have I woken up. Boy, have I woken up. And can I tell you that today, it was not a struggle. It was not a hard thing to put my phone down and to be in the moment with my kids. It was not a thing that made me I didn't even once pick up my phone to see how my Instagram numbers were, which, by the way, feels like the most ridiculous thing to be worried about. But I didn't check on my email or think about my next podcast episode, or I just was so grateful and in the present for this amazing, beautiful life that I have already built. And I just want to remind you guys, and this is the reminder I really needed, was to take a minute and look around. Did you achieve the things that a younger version of yourself wishes they had? Are you sitting there already and still striving for something else? And is that next thing going to make you happy if getting those things didn't do anything for you now? And so this is where I'm at right now. People keep asking me, are you going to move to Costa Rica? And I'm starting to question all of that. What is the gain? What is it that I'm wanting out of that I can't get here? Can't get in the present moment where I am right now. And I'm relinquishing all of it right now and really just savoring these very sweet, very fleeting moments of being a family with really, really young children. And yeah, I guess that's where I am right now. And so, no, I'm not striving for anything at the moment. I'm really savoring instead. And I hope that maybe this message can maybe resound a little bit true for you guys in your life and where you're at in your lives. And maybe you won't have to get the message in such a hard knock way, which tends to be the way that I get these messages because I can't seem to learn my lesson the first time my guides tell it to me. They usually have to give me a radical wake up call. And unfortunately for me, it always looks like it comes in the shape and form of a physical injury, either for myself or one of my kids. And this is the first time it's been from one of my kids, but it hits so much deeper when it's your kid. I don't know what it is, but yeah. So that is my sort of spiritual wake up call. And I know that I can see so clearly that this was calculated, that my guides really did create this scenario for me because they did it in a way that made it, yes, it rocked me a lot for sure, but it was in a way that it was so manageable, right? It happened in a time that was the most ideal, right? Where I had the most amount of help, where my husband was home. He was close by. He was there in the moment. I had help with both the kids. Well, my stroller was already in the car because my guides warned me to do that, and I didn't know why, right? It was like my guides were like, something's coming, right? They set it up, and I can see so clearly the veil is gone. I could see the workings behind the curtain completely, that this was a manufactured scenario that needed to happen for me to wake up. And I'm so grateful that it happened. And I know that's crazy to say I'm grateful that my son got hurt. I'm not grateful that he got hurt. Of course not. But I'm grateful that I got the wake up call and that my guides really have my back so much so. Look at the lengths they were willing to go to make me see and to make me grow just a little bit more and step into a place of happiness. And yeah, guys, I've been pretty much in tears all day. So thankful, right? Not tears of sadness, but tears of complete and utter gratitude for this life that I have right now. And it's just beautiful. It's just amazing. So I'm going to get off my soapbox for that one. But I did just want to share that sort of life lesson that I've been learning lately. And I'll update you if anything changes. But for right now, I am just so blissfully happy and grateful for where my family is right now. And yeah, it's just divine and just so beautiful. That being said, let's dive into a little bit of some intuitive development stuff. And I want to talk to you a little bit more about this practice of mine. And it's not, I didn't invent it or create it, but it's definitely one that I have taken in and use quite often, which is called automatic writing. So let's start with the definition. What is automatic writing? Automatic writing is when you allow spirit to channel through you as you write. So it is not the same as just journaling it out. When you're journaling, it is your own mind, is your own thoughts, and you're writing, the thoughts that come to mind as they come to mind. And you can take a moment and you can pause and you can write another thought. And you think about it. Sometimes you analyze it. You write some things. Sometimes you don't write other things, right? Sometimes you let a thought go and you don't write the thing that you thought, you write the thing you want to write. Automatic writing is very much attributed to its name. It's automatic in the sense that you don't have a thought process in between. The messages that are coming through, as they're coming through, they're taking over and it's spirit channeling through you. Okay. It is spirit speaking to you in writing. This is very much contributed or akin to the clair of claircognizance, right? And so there are two ways that claircognizance tends to come through. Claircognizance can come through in speaking, right? Where it's like an idea comes through and it's all that you can do but to speak it out loud. And you just start talking without any premeditated thought about what you're going to say. You just speak. And oftentimes after you've said it, you forget what you said, right? It just lights you up and you say all of these things and then it's like the energy leaves your body. And the same thing can happen with automatic writing. It lights you up, this energy comes through you. Think of yourself almost like you have a funnel over the top of your head and God or your spirit guides are dropping energy into you and then they're channeling it out through your hands and you're writing and writing and writing. And then when the thought is gone, it's like the urge to write disappears. And that's sort of what automatic writing is. It's spirit channeling through you, speaking to you in writing. And it's so powerful. It's such a powerful and easy, tangible way to get messages from your spirit guides. And to the point, and I do want to add here, and maybe this is me just growing a little bit more in my Jewish faith, but I also want to say that lately I haven't even been writing Dear Spirit Guides. I've just been straight up writing Dear God or Dear Hashem, which is the Hebrew terminology often used for referring to God. And the result is the same, right? spirit channels through you and you receive messages. And so what does this look like, or how do you do this, right? How do you get God or spirit guides to channel through you and actually write to you? And the way that you do it is the same way that you do any type of channeling practice, which is that you have to do something to get out of your head and into your mind. Sorry, out of your head and out of your mind and into your body. And this could be as simple as taking a few deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, right? Nice and slow, easy breaths. Sometimes it can take a little bit more than that, right? Sometimes it can help to do a meditation first, right? To really move away from your chattery mind and thoughts. One of my favorite times to do automatic writing is after I've worked out, because I find that, when you work out, you're kind of on that adrenaline high a little bit, and you can kind of move away from your thoughts a little bit. Sometimes I wonder if that's just because I have ADHD, right? Sometimes I need that, like, focused, attention, or to get the energy out, if you will, so that my brain can focus for a minute. So I don't know if that necessarily works for everyone, but it definitely works for me. But like I say, you can do it whenever you have time, and sometimes for me, that's only at night, and so doing a little meditation, taking a few deep breaths, and then doing a little meditation is also equally as effective. And then what you do after you sort of gotten into the zone, you've gotten out of your head, into your body, you've relaxed enough that you feel like your monkey mind, your thoughts have kind of taken a back seat. You're going to call out loud and you're going to ask your spirit guides to channel through you as you write. So I will take a moment to say, I'm just calling upon all of my spirit guides and my angels and any beautiful beings of light who walk with me. Please channel through me as I write. Okay. And then what I will do is I will write a question at the top of a blank page. It's important that the page is blank to write the question so your guides know what it is the question that you're writing or that you're speaking to them. If there's previous writing, they're going to get confused. So start with a blank page and write the question only after you've called your guides in and asked them to channel through you. And the question can be anything. It can be as specific as, right, what should I title my next podcast episode, right? Or it can be as broad as, what do you need me to know? Okay. And then you just have to start writing. And this is stream of consciousness, whatever comes to mind without filtering. Allow the messages to come through one after the other after the other. And I need you to think of the imagery of a dirty faucet. Okay. When you turn on a dirty faucet, or an old faucet, if you will, the water that's going to run through at first is going to be this brown, sludgy, gross stuff, the stuff that was kind of sitting in the faucet for a long time, right? But after the faucet's run for a while, the water's going to run clear and the information is going to run through clear. And this is the energy or this is what's sort of happening when you do automatic writing. So at first, the answers to your questions when you just start writing are going to be your own muddled human thoughts. Okay. And they're probably going to be in your own voice. I don't know what to do about this, right? I think I should do this. I'm not sure. I'm feeling like this. I'm not sure that I'm channeling right now, right? Any thought that comes through and comes to mind in that moment, you just need to write it down because this is just the old muddy brown water coming out. Eventually, you are going to see that you're going to get out of your way enough and relax enough that spirit guides will take over. And your spirit guide will take over, and you will suddenly feel that the speed of in which you are writing often picks up. The guide, you're almost gonna feel as if somebody else is holding the pen. Guys, it's so crazy. It's wild every time I do this. It's almost so like it's writing so fast that you can almost not read what you're writing. You may also notice that the the perspective changes. So maybe at first you were saying, "I don't know what to do about it," and all of a sudden, the thing that's writing is saying, "You need to do this." You're gonna see the tone of voice change. Often, you're gonna see that the types of vocabulary that's being used is often not the words that you would typically write, right? Because it's coming from a different person, right? A different being. It's your spirit guide connecting to you and speaking to you and through you. Some people who I have worked with who have tried this have found themselves just writing lists, right? The tone of voice definitely changes. It often, yes, it feels like it's coming through fast and furiously. The writing picks up and it comes through very fast, and often it feels very profound. Often it feels like vocabulary, oh my goodness, that you wouldn't use yourself. But also sometimes it can feel like very writing in complete absolutes, right? Things that you wouldn't necessarily say in conversation, if you will, right? I don't think that I would ever say to myself, Jessica, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, right? My guides are speaking to me in a way that it's almost like a little bit more poetic, I guess you would say. It's really beautiful. Like the way the words are stringing together is far better than I could compose something myself, I guess I should say. And the metaphors that come through are really beautiful, but also sometimes it's so frank and outright and just down to earth and clear, but the messages come through definitely in a different way than I would string words together myself. And the thing that you'll also notice when you're doing this is yes, the writing gets messier because you're writing so fast. It's almost like the pen is got a mind of its own. And then all of a sudden it feels like the steam runs out of it and it just stops, right? And that's when the guide has finished speaking. And in that moment, you can either write thank you. Don't ever forget to thank your guides and offer them gratitude for offering you these messages. Or you can then write a new question, right? Or a follow up question. And then you'll feel that energy take over once more, and your hand will get really fast, and you keep writing and you keep writing. And you can do this and have a whole conversation with your spirit guides. And it's so magical and so powerful. And guys, I have had the most profound conversations with my guides doing this and gotten the clearest answers for myself in doing this. So I highly recommend giving it a try. It's really just such a magical, magical experience. Don't forget to thank your guides at the end. And again, this is something that maybe takes a little bit of practice. I do want to say that the very first time I ever tried automatic writing, I heard about it on a podcast. Okay. There's this amazing podcast out there. It's called, I believe it's still called the Highest Self podcast by Sahara Rose. And she had done an episode about her experience with automatic writing. And this was really, really, really at the beginning of my intuitive development journey. So, well before I ever connected with my own, or not well before, but right at the beginning of me trying to pursue connecting with my spirit guides. And the very first time I tried automatic writing, simply from what I had heard about on a podcast on how to do it, which is the exact information I'm giving you now, I tried it and I was able to do it. It was that easy. And so I really strongly encourage you to give it a try. Try automatic writing. Call in your guides, ask them to channel through you as you write. Write a question at the top of the page and then stream of consciousness. Just write and feel the magic take over and write through you. There's a really beautiful book that we just finished reading as a book club book in the intuition activation community called Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. And this book was written entirely through a process of automatic writing. Somebody who was asking God to channel through him, asking all of life's biggest questions, and allowing God to channel through him and write the answers. And guys, the information that comes through in that book is nothing short of divine. If you have not read that book, I highly recommend it. And I do want to say, guys, that I truly believe that many books have likely been written through this process, through automatic writing, that it is through divine inspiration that spirit channels through you, and the inspiration for the book that is written or the information that needs to be read and heard by the masses is channeling through that person, through the author. And so if you do think that maybe you've got a book inside of you, definitely try this practice because it's going to be the easiest book you've ever written when you allow the energy to come through you and channel through you. It's really, really so magical. And so that being said, I do want to walk you through a little meditation so that you can get a taste of what it feels like to try automatic writing. And the question I want you to ask your guides when you do this is, what do I need to know today? That's it. What do you need me to know today? Okay. And your guides will channel through you and share this with you. What do you need me to know today? And you can make it a little bit more specific. You can say, what do you need me to know about my relationship? Or what do you need me to know about my business? Or what do you need me to know about my health? Insert category here. Or you can just say, what do you need me to know? Channel it through and see what profound, beautiful messages come through. And the last thing I want to say about this before we jump into the meditation is just because some of the messages may slightly resemble what you might have thought to say to yourself doesn't mean that it wasn't channeled. Remember that in the context of calling in your guides, whatever comes through after that is a channeled message. So trust it. Don't get in your head. You're going to know that it was channeled because you're going to feel a difference in the energy. You're going to see that it switches. You're going to feel the pen pick up. You're going to see it switch from I don't know what to do to you need to do this. And that for me was so profound when I first tried this because I had no doubt that what was coming through was a channeled message because I could feel something taking over the pen. I could feel it. And you'll be able to do this too. I'm going to have you dive into this meditation and you're going to see for yourself exactly what that feels like. Okay. So we're going to hop into this meditation. And if you do want to have a deeper practice, you want to dive a little bit deeper into automatic writing. This is one of the exercises that we dive much deeper into in my Meet Your Spirit Guides course. So I highly recommend diving into that little course. There's a much deeper, longer, much more intentional meditation from that course that's going to help you along that path and journey. And I talk about how to troubleshoot it and how to really dive into this practice. So if you haven't already grabbed that course, I believe that I still have it at more than 50% off. I believe that the course is only $44 at the moment. So definitely grab that from the link in the show notes and just grab my Meet Your Spirit Guides course and you can try that and really dive into this practice a little bit deeper if you feel like you need a little bit more help. But I'm hoping also that the meditation I'm about to give you is going to help you experience it for yourself as well. Yeah, I'm excited for you to give this a try, and I'll catch you on the other side of this meditation. Bye, guys. I want you to start by taking a few deep breaths with me in through your nose and out through your mouth. Deep breath in and powerful sigh out through your mouth, relaxing your shoulders. Deep breath in and let it go. Relaxing your chest. Deep breath in and let it go. Dropping everything down. 2 more. Deep breath in and release. And last one, nice and slow. Deep breath in and let it go. Beautiful. I want you to imagine that you're sitting on a beautiful beach at night. There's a million stars in the sky and a beautiful full moon shining down. See the moonlight as it sparkles and dances over the beautiful ocean. Hearing the sounds of the waves as they gently crash against the shore. And feeling a cool, gentle breeze against your skin. And hearing the wind as it whips through the trees lining the shoreline. Feeling the sand cool and soft beneath your legs as you sit there barefoot in the sand. Looking up at the sky, you feel so in awe of beautiful nature all around you. You feel wonder and peace, relaxed and refreshed, and simultaneously exhilarated here. Take another deep breath in and out. And as you see yourself sitting there staring at the wide open sky with those thousands of stars, I want you to see yourself begin to place your bare feet flat against the sand in front of you. And begin to bury your feet in the sand, feeling that cool, refreshing sensation as the sand covers the tops of your feet and your toes. And I want you to imagine as if 2 little tree roots begin to sprout out from the bottoms of each of your feet. And these tree roots are going to burrow down deep into the earth beneath you, connecting you and holding you safely to the earth. See these tree roots as they head down deeper and deeper into the earth. See them heading all the way down to the very center of the earth. When they get there, they come across a beautiful orb of floating, blinding, brilliant white light. See this orb of white light begin to grow and glow a little bit brighter. And your tree roots are going to wrap themselves all the way around this beautiful orb of light, absorbing its healing properties and bringing this energy all the way back up toward your body. Feeling the center of the bottoms of your feet beginning to tingle now as the energy approaches you. And feeling as this beautiful white light begins to pour into the arches of your feet. Tingly, shimmery, weighted and warm. And feeling this energy as it spreads across the balls of your feet and your toes. Feel it tingling and glittering as it swirls around your heels and your ankles. And this beautiful, brilliant white light is going to circulate throughout your whole body now, traveling up to the top of your head, down to your toes, and back up again. And as it does, it's going to wake up, reactivate, and refresh every single cell in your body. Feeling this brilliant white light as it begins to circulate through you now. Feeling every single cell begin to come alive, vibrate, hum, and buzz with this beautiful, gorgeous, radiant white light. And feeling as even more of your cells come alive. Feel everything humming and buzzing with this beautiful activated energy. And as this occurs, your aura begins to glow. See yourself completely surrounded by and projecting a beautiful, radiant, and healing white light. Feeling as even more of your cells come alive. Feeling everything humming and buzzing with one through line of activated, brilliant white light. And as this occurs, your aura glows even brighter and radiates even further outward. And at this moment, I'd like to call upon all of your spirit guides, loved ones, ascended masters, angels, archangels, and all other beautiful, benevolent beings of light who walk with you to come and join you in this guided meditation. I ask that you only connect to those of love and of light, of the highest vibration and the highest good. And I ask that they please channel through you as you write, and you connect with them through writing today. Now take a moment to just feel your beautiful spirit guide gently float down from the night sky and land on the sand in front of you. And keeping your eyes closed, I want you to take a moment to imagine in your mind what your spirit guide looks like, feels like. Dream them up. And as you feel your guide, you're going to take a step toward you and place what looks like a beautiful crown on your head. This crown is glowing in white and made of brilliant, healing, angelic white light. Feel a tingling sensation begin to form and start to get stronger all around the circumference of the top of your head. And your spirit guide is going to press a button on this crown. As they do, it looks like a big pillar of white light begins to shoot upward from the top of your head. And that tingling sensation gets a little bit stronger, a lot stronger. Feel it glowing and growing and getting even stronger and tingling even more. This is your portal, your connection to the other realms, to your spirit guide. And in this moment, out loud, I want you to say, Spirit guide, please channel through me as I write. And then write your question at the top of a blank page and begin to write stream of consciousness, whatever comes to mind. And then thank your guide after the question has been completed.